Welcome everyone. We're just gonna give it few minutes, so we have everybody give the chance for everybody to join us. So just allow us أعطونا بس دقيقتين ثلاثة before we really kick in we start the whole chat. I think we should start. Rami, you're okay to start?
No, I'm okay.
We will start now,
We
and
have
people will come in.
we have 200 people registered, over 200. We anticipate that people will come.
Joining. Yeah.
Yeah.
طيب أول شيء thank you Rami for joining us. It's going to be a very interesting discussion. I'm going to take 1 minute, 2 minutes just to introduce myself and introduce Mr. Rami. I'll start with Mr. Rami. First of all, Rami, thank you for taking the time from your busy schedule. I know how much busy you are to join us on this discussion. So Rami Busbait comes with over 25 years of experience in talent management, leadership development, and HR transformation across different type of organizations, including Saudi Aramco and Savvy Games Group. So for this discussion, we really wanted somebody with the experience, knowledge, working in particular with the Saudi experience, because of we know why Saudi is now transforming into Vision 2030. So when we talk about this, and talent management is at the center of this vision. So we thought this is an important topic to address specifically with a focus on the Saudi market. So currently, Mr. Rami as well serves as a vice president of talent management at Savvy Games Group, where he's currently leading large-scale initiatives in leadership development, succession planning, and data-driven talent strategy. We were just talking about it before we launched this. So Rami is as well as SHRM CP certified, fellow CIPD, so he has the British qualification, the American qualification from a very reputable association for those you don't know. And he's got multiple recognitions and awards for the work he has been doing in building really high performing teams, future ready talent ecosystem. So we're going to be talking a lot about the future, since you've done it in so many different organizations. As well, Rami is widely regarded for his ability to link talent strategy directly to business outcomes. So that how you put the strategy and how you build the capabilities around it from the human point of view. We're going to talk about this and how to help the executives, the board, to make better decision around capability building, leadership pipeline, and organizational readiness. So we have a very interesting experience to share with you. And thank you, Rami. I know you're very busy. You just came from your trip for taking this time with us just to chit chat about the latest trends and what's going on in the when it comes to the talent management in HR in general. From my perspective, my name is Fadi Ganni. I am in the educational field. I'm not an HR person, but I've been for more than 30 years talking about training people in various certifications. I'm a certified public accountant, and I've been engaged with many organizations around the world and professional associations to really nail down about the strategy, what are the skills gap between fresh graduates and what the market requirements, so we can adapt those professional qualifications in the market. I know the Saudi market and the Gulf market very well. We've been operating in that market for more than 20 years. And we work with governments, with private companies, and with publicly listed companies as well. And we do training in the HR, but I'm not the subject matter expert. I can talk on more on a higher level on when it comes to the skills requirement and the technology and how the markets are moving. So our discussion today is going to be very interesting. We're going to keep it two-way, the discussion. If you have questions, we'll leave the last 15, 20 minutes. If you want to address any question to Mr. Rami, we'll be more than happy to address your questions. So we're going to start, Rami. So we're going to talk on different themes. One of the first themes we're going to address, and I'm going to have a few questions about it, is why talent is important and a priority for the board and the C-level. We've always, people who don't understand really when we talk about HR, they think it's about payroll, interviews, recruitment. And I don't think this is more of an admin work. I don't think this is really, when it comes to talent management and HR, really what a leadership style, a leader in talent management, what they do on day to day. So my first question to you, and I want to cut the chase, is that in your past 25 years of experience, if you want to give a compelling piece of data or you want to give a promise you make to the CEO of where you're currently working, okay, that gives you justification why they should treat capital investment on people as treat talent as a capital investment than cost. We always look at at employees as cost, and it's time to shift that mindset. So how would you have that argument with the CEO? What data you would give him? How will you convince them to do that?
أول حاجة, thank you very much for hosting me. Fadi, it's a pleasure to meet you again. We met before, but meeting again also gives you that good feeling.
Thank you.
Always loved Morgan. I did not tell you that before, but my first ever HR certification was with HRCI PHR certification that was done through Morgan in 2013. I did the ProSci, but it's not solely for HR. It's a change management certification. But my first ever HR certification was done through Morgan. At that time, it wasn't called PHR for global. It was called HRBP, HR Business Professional. And then they changed the naming to PHR International, PHRI, in which I still hold up to today. So maybe you did not mention that in the introduction, but
no.
This is a secret I'm telling you now.
Interesting. So you've seen the whole changes from HRBP to HR. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, and then I took the SHRM, I took the others, but this is like the first ever taken certification. Anyways, regarding the promise and the justification of investment, I mean, the promise is simple. you know, you need to build capabilities before you need them. This is the option, or otherwise, you will pay premium for catching up with that later, you know? Because if you don't pay now, you will be uh, way behind. We have seen a lot of technologies coming in. For example, I'll tell you an example, which a lot of probably the new generation do not know. Uh, the typewriters before were uh, they used to struggle a lot until Microsoft Word launched the solution, and that created a big market where it eliminated a lot of jobs that for those writers who used to have this skill. For the people who did not transition into learning this new tool that is coming into the market, they basically lost their jobs. And according to McKinsey, organizations with mature talent systems and processes, they are more likely, 2.2 times more likely to hit their strategic goals. So this is not only an investment, it's something that you need to put in mind if you want to hit your strategic goals properly uh, and more likely, according to this study, then you need to invest in your people. And not investing in your people in the era now of AI and new technology and emerging technologies is a very big mistake that you want to avoid, especially that you have seen a lot of examples in the past for companies like Nokia or Kodak or very, very famous companies dissolving, going out of the picture all of a sudden for failure to reskilling or adopting or uh, maybe listening to the market changes. Yeah, so that's basically the best argument that you can put as a justification for the capital investment.
So really my understanding, if I want to summarize, is that if you don't take care of it now, it's going to cost you more. This is you've said
Oh,
it.
of
Second
course.
is it impacts the bottom line. So
Yeah.
you quantify if you want growth and everything.
Yes.
And when you talk to a CEO, these are very important items. What's my bottom line? What's my EBITDA and this? So without having the proper investments in place, probably you will not be able to achieve your targets.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Okay. Very interesting. Yes, I was looking at the research as well. So it has a direct impact on the bottom line. The having the right talent ecosystem, and one of the interesting things what I realized is that for our organization before, they had to invest in infrastructure, buildings, offices, and human capital. Now the focus now is on more human capital and decreasing the infrastructure. With the technology into place now, your human capital structure can be around the world. You don't need to be in the same office. So now it is the more and more investment is going in that direction, which aligns with just what you have just told us.
Yeah, Fadi, actually, there is a big focus by big organizations like CIPD and SHRM on remodeling their, let's say, HR, I would say HR model or HR way of doing business to three things. And I've seen it in both organizations. And I don't have a lot of visibility on what ATD is doing as well, but I'm sure they will not be different from this. So what they focus on are three things: the work, the worker, and the workplace. So the work is the job, the structure, the things related to the job descriptions, the qualifications, the anything related to the job. The worker, which is the employee, and anything related to the employee, and the workplace. You know, now the workplace is changing. It doesn't have to be in the office. So there are so many options. There is the office, there is the virtual, there is the metaverse, there is so many things going on at the same time, and you need to adapt your work and worker to the workplace as well. And there are so many things changing, and you need to be um, uh, very knowledgeable of what's going on around you and changing things as they progress.
Interesting. Okay, Rami, let's move to my second question. And I want to look at it from the CEO's point of view. So, really, if I look at the CEO, one of the main success factors or primary goals of CEO is to have to ensure that the management team remains vital and up to date. So you want your management team to know what's going on, they're up to date and vital. And we know that a lot of businesses in the Gulf is family-owned run business, which when the founders, they go away, the business might be impacted. So in your view, what is the greatest operational risk that KSA or Gulf companies they're facing today? If we have a plan, robust plan for succession planning, how can they mitigate that risk? In your view, you work with those type of organizations. So what is the greatest, I would say, or how a good succession plan can mitigate the risk, operational risk of companies in today's job market?
Yeah, that's very important. I think it's not only the growth of family businesses. It's something else as well. All of the Gulf regions now are going into transformations. We have the Vision 2030. We have the Vision 2040 in Oman as well. We have Dubai and UAE in general. They are changing and transforming rapidly. So all of the Gulf states, and specifically now I'm talking about KSA. We are going feeling this transformation, and this transformation comes with a cost, and the cost is it's gonna suck out every talent in the market. You create new companies, you create new initiatives, you transform the governments, then you're going to need talents. And you're going to need talents, and it's going to suck out all of the talents to the point that you cannot find good talents in the market easily. And that also results in how can you create the next level leaders by ensuring the succession planning is done properly. And there are risks to mitigate. So if you want to go to success to the board, for example, as you mentioned, and you want to convince them why I need a succession plan, of course, one of them is and I'm sure many attendees who are working in the HR field, they fear flight risk. Talent flight risk is the biggest thing that we fear in the talent management area or HR area. It comes with so many costs of hiring new people. And not only that, sometimes if you don't have proper succession planning, it comes with other costs as well. For example, high costs and long lead time of expatriate hiring as well. Because you're going to be not depending on locals, you're going to go to the expatriates who are ready. And that comes with a lot of things, cultural things, because you're hiring people not only outside of the country's culture, it's outside of the company culture as well. Uh, I'm we work with expatriates who are very familiar with Saudi culture, and we don't face any issues with that. But the company culture as well, bringing an outside leader, hiring them, whether they are Saudis or expatriates, it's going to create a cultural issue. They need to adapt to the culture. Uh, Also, there is a disruption of the ongoing business as well. Probably if you are undergoing a transformation within the organization, the last thing you want to do is bring a new leader who doesn't know anything about the history to manage this transformation. So many of the government entities now in Saudi Arabia, they are undergoing transformations as a result of the Vision 2030. So if you bring someone from outside the organization, they don't know the history of the organization, especially the governmental entities, and they don't know how to deal with them because they don't have a history about it. Also, what about the knowledge of the organization? Now you're losing people, or a successor, sorry, the incumbent of a position is leaving, and you don't have a successor. Who's gonna preserve this knowledge? You don't have a knowledge transfer program. You don't have a mechanism for successors. So, so that will create a lot of issues. And if all of that is not uh, uh, convincing to the board, then tough luck with the board.
Yeah, but Rami, what you just mentioned is a very complex. It might sound easy.
Yeah.
What you just said, the bullet points, you spoke about the culture, you spoke about continuity, you spoke about the information, losing information. It's e- it's it looks simple, but what each one of them is a very complex issue to deal with. And I was reading one, I was preparing for this. It's very interesting. They say you bring somebody from outside the succession plan, you solve the problem for the next 12 months. You internally promote somebody for a succession plan that knows the culture, that knows the company, you solve the problems for the next 12 years. So the easy way out is to go for the outside. The harder part is to build the capabilities internally and doing predictive who can do it when and everything. And
One thing, Fadi, is also when you assess someone internally, and we're going to come into this probably later in discussions today. But when you assess someone, you assess them for the culture, you assess them for the leadership competencies that you embrace in the organization. So that is already embedded in the succession planning and the
yeah,
assessments you and the high potential programs that you.
yeah. Yeah. And the greatest risk is you lose momentum when you're under pressure, when you lose that leadership discontinuity. If you don't have, whenever the discontinue and coming, it will really impact and delay the progress. It has a huge impact, which is really is not quantifiable. But people who are go into it's a huge critical element that CEOs have to address in partnership with their HR, I would say, leadership. It's very important.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I totally
Okay.
agree. It's an unfortunate. I mean, look, this is why now there are many organizations. They have NRCs who mandate that you have a succession plan, and they take it to the board, and they approve it by the board. So now the companies are becoming more aware, although we are not reaching to the point that we want, but we are getting there.
Yeah, it's part of the governance now.
Yeah.
And even in valuation, when you look at the valuing a company, when they're doing the risk assessment as well, now with the external auditors, with the valuation of business, that's a key element as well. Okay, we're dependent on this person. Do we have succession plan?
And
Interesting.
I tell you a story. And I attended the SHRM conference this year and last year. So last year, I attended a session that was discussing succession planning. And it was a very big hall. Maybe it has maybe 200, 300 people uh, uh, discussing succession plans, like a workshop about succession planning. And when the presenter asked in the room how many people have succession planning, very, very few raised their hands, maybe less than 10. And this happened also when I presented in like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I presented in one of the Gulf countries. And then my topic was about succession planning. So I also asked the question. I said, by if you have any succession plan in your organization, just raise your hand. And also the room was around the same number that was in SHRM, 200 to 300 people. Only 6 people I counted who had succession plans, and they were very big entities in the room. I'm 100% sure because I was of the organizing committee of the conference, and I know which entities they came from. So only very few from those big companies, they had succession planning within their organization, and that's scary, you know. It
Well,
tells
very scary.
yeah, it's not available everywhere, and not a lot of people are aware about it.
Interesting. Let's move into a new question. And here I want your expertise, how you do it, because in my role as a CEO, I find it very difficult. If a company decides to take a new strategic imperative, whether it is we want to bring a new product, we want to bring a new program, we want to expand into market, so they have something they want to offer new or a new plan. How can you translate from the HR perspective? I'm talking here. How you can to execute the plan, you need certain capabilities. How do you translate the plan into capabilities, leadership capabilities required along to be able to execute on the new plans of the organization? Because any plan, we have to match it with capabilities. We might have to bring in those capabilities. How do you work it out currently?
Um, Well, you need to think about translating strategy into work, you know. What kinds of decisions, what are the new complexities that you're going to face? What are the new skills that you need? These are very important to understand from the strategic imperative that you're going to implement. Am I going to take new decisions? Uh, and also, let's say the decisions for success or failure or whatever that are related to the company growth. Is the company going to grow rapidly because of this strategic imperative? Is it a merger and acquisition? Uh, are we going to launch new products that we need to train our people more about? Are we growing outside the organization and going global, for example? Will that include some kind of cultural aspect that we need to take care of. Also, how we're going to use money. Is that an investment? Are we going to do an M&A? Are we going to probably invest in new technology? Also, the markets that you're gonna reach. Are we gonna reach new markets? Are we gonna operate within the same market, but within, let's say, a new sector that we are opening? Will that initiative, for example, affect the skills? So when we identify the skill, we need to consider, for example, the business acumen, the digital skills, understanding how systems work, having business sense. So all of that, well, strategy will tell me the capabilities, but the capabilities will tell me the development plan, you know? This goes hand in hand, you know, you cannot separate it. So there are so many things that you need to put on the table for people to probably, I mean, you need to go to the CEO with something tangible.
Okay. We're getting a lot of questions. We're going to answer all the questions. We're going to give towards the end 15, 20 minutes to address all the questions you're raising. I just want to keep on going with the flow because we have a lot to cover still, and scratch and make use of Rami's knowledge to get as much information as possible. So, Rami, what you just mentioned is that so really, which is very difficult. So you're taking this strategy, you're breaking it into segments, and you're going to check in each segment what the capabilities require now and in the future to make it happen. This is it sounds easy. I still don't understand the mechanism because it's very, very difficult. So you need to look at the strategy. What is the requirements of the jobs? What are the skills required? And now and in the future, and match it against certain capabilities. It's a very complex procedure.
It is. Well, I was lucky in my early career to work on balanced scorecard. And I had to work with the executive team in the organization to build the strategy map. And the strategy map goes with so many things. It goes with, first at the top, the strategic imperatives. And then you look at multiple perspectives where, based on the strategic imperatives at the top, and anyone can go and search in Google and type strategy map, and then they will get different strategy map formats. But this is how it is built. You put from your strategy, you build your strategic imperatives, which constitute the strategy. And then you go down into the financial objectives. So you look at the strategy from a financial perspective, and you build your financial objectives. What are the financial objectives that I want to reach? And then you look at either the stakeholders or the customer perspective. How am I gonna serve the customer to help reach those financial objectives? And then next is the internal perspective. How am I gonna build the procedures and policies within the company to support the customer, who will support the financial, who will support the strategy? And then lastly, how am I gonna do the learning and growth of my people and developing the people, their skills, everything? How am I gonna set those objectives to support the policy, to support the customer, to support the financial? So what happens actually when you build the strategy map, we build it from the top to the bottom. But when you execute from the bottom to the top.
To the top.
That's,
Interesting.
so that's very, very interesting to work on. And I was like having only 3 years of experience when I worked on that, but it gave me a lot of insight into how I can align the strategy with the growth of the people in the organization.
Interesting. Okay, I want to move a bit and talk about technology. I know that you have background in digital HR and analytics. So my question to you is, and everybody's talking about human analytics, HR, predictive analytics. When we talk about predictive analytics, in our mind, it's always Excel sheets, financial models, and we predict how it is. But apparently it goes to HR and many, many others. So in your view, how can technology eliminate complexity in talent management? And at the same time, how can it give me predictive insights on who to invest on and when to invest on this person and who we should not invest on? I'm sure there are technology softwares out there and tools you can use it. So my question to you is how can those tools eliminate complex HR talent issues?
And this is a very complex
I
thing.
know.
Let me tell you a thing that I have done in my career, and it's I'm very proud of, you know. Uh, uh, so one time we built a competency model, and that competency model it had competencies mapped to the jobs, and then we identified the competencies needed for every job, and then we did an evaluation for everybody to identify their competence level and identify the gaps for their development. That doesn't predict anything now. It doesn't give you a lot of. So what we did also is that we took all of the courses that we provide to our employees, including the e-learning platform, and we use Gen AI to map how each course is related from that database to the competency, to each competency that we have in the company. I mean, technical competency. Okay, so that gives you a percentage of how close is this related. We did a third exercise where we identified each competency, how it is replaceable by AI. So if the competency is replaceable by AI, then you don't do development for it. I mean, it's less likely that you do a development for it. So there was a percentage, we used a methodology to do this evaluation, and there was some kind of percentage that gives you, it's, let's say, 60% more likely it will be replaced by AI using the criteria that we did for the evaluation. So if you take the three things, the assessment that you did for the employees for each competency, for each job, and the relationship between the course and the competency, each competency, and map it to the job as well. And then the AI replaceability, and you map it also. If you multiply the three factors, then it will predict for you the best course from your database. Because now you know the gap, you know how the course is related to the job, and you know the AI replaceability. The less replaceability, the more likely it will be related to the job. multiply the three things, then you get a factor that will tell you and predict to you that this course is more related to the job. This is how data analytics can predict for you different things. You can use it to accelerate people and predict who can stay, who need intervention. You can do a lot of things with predictive analytics. Now with AI, it's getting easier to do that, but that's one of the things that I did previously in my.
So it's very interesting because it removes all the guesswork. We've always used our hunches and judgment, and
Yeah,
now you're removing the guesswork and you're basing it on scientific. 1 + 2 = 3. If this and this, you take that. So it's more transparent to the leadership and to the employees, I think.
yeah,
Interesting. So you're currently using that, and I think more and more of those technology and AI, we're gonna be using it. We're gonna see it more and more coming in the HR and talent management sphere. I see it more and more. I know a lot of organizations are starting to use it, which is very interesting as well. And a lot of organizations now are assessing employees on how they're using the technology to find solution. One of them is Amazon, and like 1/3 of the bonuses of the senior leadership is on how they are using AI and what innovative ways of AI they're bringing into the business, which is a bit scary for a typical for an employee or anybody, because now you need to keep your skills up to date. It's not anymore. You have to have digital dexterity. You have to stay on top of the game.
not only this will help. I mean, the reason I did this study for AI specifically was to try to understand how to help the employees who are more likely losing their job, their certain competencies to the AI in uh, uh, investing in their skills that are less likely to be uh, replaced by AI by mapping them into other jobs in the company. So instead of hiring people into other jobs, maybe let's say I have two positions who are more likely will be replaced by AI. Maybe I will reduce them to one position and then I adopt AI here. And then I take this employee and hire this employee internally into another position by understanding the gaps in each position. So that is the main reason I did this study.
Interesting. Interesting. Good. So I want to move into a different topic, which is very interesting, which is really how some companies sometimes they confuse performance with the potential in the future. It doesn't mean if somebody today doing a good job, it means that person can have a potential to take a leadership role and excel. So many organizations they promote good performance, but we have some people who are not as rated as high performance, yet they have potential within the organization to lead those organizations. I have a friend of mine, he's a partner in one of the big four firms. He tells me he likes to hire lazy people because lazy people always find ways to solve the issue in the least amount of effort and the quickest. They get to think outside the box so they can find solutions, which is an interesting perspective for a senior partner in a big four to think that way. So my question to you, talking about this, Rami, is that, like I mentioned, many organizations confuse high performance or performance with potential. And you've used HIPPO process, my understanding when I was briefed, where you can identify high potential employees based on future facing criteria. Like those people can face based on future set criteria and not only focus on rewarding the high current performance. So from the standard point of view is how organization can grow to that level of looking at things from that perspective.
Well, as you mentioned, people who align with future strategy, not performance only, they are considered as high potentials. Not only that, I mean, speed of acquiring and applying new skills is one thing that the high potentials need to have. Handling complexities, ambiguity, and scale of work, also that is considered. So we have two factors of identifying a high potential. Performance is just one of them. The second one of them is potential, and potential is handled or identified usually by doing sets of assessments. And we have a lot of companies that are doing leadership potential assessments. We have and a lot of people doing that in their companies. We have the 9 box that has the performance and the potential. And if you are at the top right corner of the 9 box, and then you are part of the high potential people. And the very top at the right, they are called the stars, which are the people that you really need to focus your investment on mostly. So high performer, simply, he or she is the person who will deliver today. But the high potential is the person who will deliver today, tomorrow, and with a big scale as well. So that's a difference between the two.
Great. I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to start asking, because we have 14 questions to respond to them. My last question for today, before we take questions from the attendees, is that given your history, I want you to list the most common mistake usually HR leaders they make when they present strategy or budget to the C-suite level, and how can they structure differently? Because you think people, the C-suite they think differently. So what is the common mistake when they're presenting strategy or a budget, and how they can structurally make it different? Your advice to HR professionals.
Well, you need to speak their language. You know, what is the language of the board? What is the language of the C-suites? It's money, capital allocation, not, I mean, you list your activities and tell your HR processes, nobody will listen to you. You go and say, we deliver training, so what? You're costing me money, you know? Instead of that, you say, for example, we increase sales team productivity by 14% or 15%, then people will start listening to you. So when you are requested to present to the board, of course, you need to explain the investment required, because you need to get approval for that. But most importantly, what is the ROI with that? And a lot of people struggle with ROI. And I tell you, there are so many things that you need to put up front when you pitch to the board. One of them is that you need to let them understand how this will affect productivity. How are you predicting that? Is it affecting the time that you need to execute your work? Is it going to reduce it? Is it gonna probably increase the, let's say, quality of your service by how much? The data, the more data you present to your board, the better uh, uh, chances you get for their approval.
So, Rami, what you're saying is that my understanding from your answer is that instead of saying we did this, we did that, you present the activities that the HR have done, present business outcome, and speak the language of every activity, what is the return, how we contributed towards the bottom line. So this is what
Exactly.
they want to hear. And based on scientific data, straight to the point. If we do this, this is how much it's going to impact the bottom line.
Yeah,
Eventually, it's money and budgets and ROI.
and Dave Aldrich mentioned it. It's about what is the business impact that what is the value that you're creating to the business.
Okay. All right. I have some questions. I just want to answer them. First question is addressed to you, Rami, is that we have a person who said that every person is a talented. The question is, how does the leader can see the talent and utilize it? So if you have a talent and the leader is not seeing that talent, it's a problem. So what's your feedback on that?
This is true. You need to be aware of the skills of your team, but there is one better, I would say, aspect of it is me as a professional. Do I know my talents? How? Uh, did I make the right assessments to understand myself and my talents and my strengths and weaknesses, and most importantly, am I in the right job or not? This is very important. Uh, for example, let's say now me, I am, uh, for example, now I'm going into a new job. I want to join HR, for example. Is this the right job for me? Did I do the right assessments to join this job? So this is very important to know before I join the job. Do I have the skills to join this job? Do I have the personality to join this job? So this is very important.
Okay. Okay. I have another question here. Well, it's a comment. It's not a question. I'm looking at it. What it says that no a person is saying no jobs will be lost by AI. It's a tool to make work better and faster. I know there's a big debate around this, which is the future of skills, where people are scared that AI will take on the jobs. Yes, it will take, but it's going to create other jobs. I want to hear your comment on that. But before that, I was with the CEO of a large organization last week in Dubai. And according to him, is that all his focus is on AI and technology. And he's saying we need to reskill our people with the AI coming on board, technology. We need to give new skills. And it's a big challenge for him because there's internal opposition. I want your opinion, Rami, when you talk about AI and new skills and this. What do you say to all of this noise out there?
Well, there are factors that affect every competency of a job. For example, I'll tell you, let's say some of the competencies, for example, they have a bigger probability of repetitive jobs. So these will be immediately taken by technology. Not only AI, it can be a system that comes and takes it. So any repetitive job, there are so many technologies in the market now. For example, RPA. If I'm sending an email, extracting a report, customizing it, and sending an email every day, I can build an RPA and eliminate this job immediately. So RPA, for the people who do not know, it's a robotic process automation. It's a robot that you teach it how to do a job, and then it's a program that you run on your machine or on a server. You teach it the steps, and then it will do the job immediately. I have a certification in RPA. I've done this so many times before. I usually take off the repetitive tasks of my shoulder and let the RPA do it for me. So I just sit down and watch the RPA run the job. So it's very easy and it's very effective at the same time. It saves a lot of time, a lot of effort, and maybe you can do that for instead of hiring 20 people, you just one robot will do everything for you. So this is one way of doing things. So repetitiveness is decision making structured or not? If it's structured, it is more likely it will be replaced by AI. Also, the information, is it the input and output of information, is it also something structured that is available that doesn't need a lot of modification? If this is the case, then also AI can replace it. Another thing is that most of the jobs, and I'm not saying most, but I'm saying, let's say some of the jobs will not need a lot of human interaction. So the less likely the task that you are doing needs human interaction, the more likely it will be replaced by AI. Because AI is still smart, but also, I mean, the less likely you have human interaction, then it will be replaced by AI. So these are some factors that you put in mind, and if you evaluate your jobs against, then you will understand what tasks inside the job will be replaced and how these jobs will be affected. Some of the jobs have a lot of repetitive work, like I'll give you an example from HR, payroll, for example. It is very repetitive, straightforward. It's a system you just do, it's very structured. You immediately can replace it by AI. The other thing that it comes into mind, accounting. Accounting is very structured. Uh, Finance as well is very structured. Translation is very structured, and it can be replaced easily now. Most of the people use translation by AI. So of course it's not perfect, but the bulk of the work is replaced.
Rami, it's very interesting by answering this question. You're an HR person, which is people maybe, and you just said that you've taken certification in robotics. If you tell a person 30 years ago that he's a head of HR, and you tell him he's studying robotics, they're gonna think that person is crazy. He doesn't know what he's doing. And now you're saying it as if it is a must part of an HR role. Can I understand why you've taken that certification? What was your objective?
Well, I have a very strong passion for IT in addition to HR. So I have a
Okay.
master's degree in IT, and I have a certification in robotics, certification in Power BI, certification in chatbots, and I have other certifications as well. So I'm very passionate about IT as well. I think IT is uh, is a very strong partner of HR, and when they work
HR.
together, they can be very, very successful.
Yeah. Okay, I have one more question. The person's asking, what about the role of AI in knowledge management, which is an important element of HR management? So that person is wants to understand what about the role of AI when it comes to knowledge management, which is part of an HR management. Can you elaborate further on this area, role of AI in knowledge management?
Yeah, some of the companies, I know Aramco announced this. They are building something called the Meta Brain. And Meta Brain is the where they have the large language model that captures the company information and it reads from the company systems and basically can answer so many questions. So instead of losing knowledge when people go out, it actually captures the knowledge from the systems, from, let's say you have a SharePoint system or platform, it can read the data in it, it can read so many things, even from the email server and everything, and then can answer you effectively using the Gen AI solutions that are available. They are linked to the LLM or the large language model, and they can answer a lot of things. That can bridge a lot of knowledge gaps. It might not eliminate everything because there is, I don't know if you know about this, there is a tacit knowledge and explicit knowledge. The explicit knowledge is the things that you write in procedures, in policies, in let's say sheets, in emails, and everything. But there is the explicit knowledge. There is the tacit, sorry, knowledge. The tacit knowledge is different. I'll give you an example where I learned when I was knowledge transfer consultant. Very easy example to remember is when you ride a bike, when you learn how to ride a bike, not a motorbike, it's like a normal bicycle. It's very difficult to go and read a manual and try to do that. You cannot do that. So this is a tacit knowledge that someone needs to sit with you, explain it to you, and then you start doing it multiple times until you learn it. So it's not straightforward policy and procedure thing that you learn by reading a book and then go and try the bicycle and then you perfect it. You cannot do that. So similarly, there are certain work in the now, for example, someone who works in a plant can listen to the machine and tell you there is a fault in the machine without you cannot explain that in a procedure, you know. So this is
Yeah.
yeah. So this is
It's
some
it's interesting because I can relate it what you just said to our work with the knowledge management. So one of our programs, the CPA, we launched like 4 or 5 months ago an AI academic support. And it was a push from the management with a concrete deadline. Within 3 months, you have to get this up and running. So now, talking about knowledge management, in 1 month, that AI is receiving 5 million questions every month. And that knowledge is gaining and building knowledge. So we are projecting within 6 months the amount of knowledge that we're calling it Newt, that Newt will have is equivalent to somebody who's been in the organization for 20 years
yeah
in 6 months.
yeah.
So this is another example. Rami, we need to close soon. We're over time. I want my last question to you before closing is what is the one advice you will give to executives in the HR or HR leaders who want talent strategy to truly drive the business strategy. So it's not a service, it's a truly part of the strategy that drives business forward. What is one simple advice you want to give those executives?
Well, put them in the leadership seats and listen to their challenges. If you don't do that, in the future, you're gonna lose, definitely.
Okay. So it is part of one of the people say that really HR are the strategy enablers because without them, it's very hard to execute a strategy because at the end of the day, it is people and skills that will execute a strategy. And if HR is not the architecture behind all of this, probably any strategy you put into place will fail. So I think our time is right up. They're sending me message. Let me see if there is anything else. I think we've covered most of the items. I want to thank you, Rami, for the valuable insights you've given us, and you've given the audience. And thank you for taking the time. And for people who have, thank you for your participation. This is recorded. If you want us, we can share it with you. You have our contacts. Any questions, please share it with us. We can share the video. Rami, anything you want to say before we close?
I want to thank uh, everyone who attended today and listened and stayed until now. And thank you, Fadi, and the team for organizing this. It's always a pleasure to meet you and speak to you and speak to the people as well. And I wish you the best of luck, and we wish to meet again,
We
inshallah.
will, for sure, we will meet again. And thank you, Rami. I know you're busy. You just came from the UK. You're telling me about the succession plan and what's happening. So thank you for taking the time and for sharing what's your view on things with the team. It's really greatly appreciated. Thank you, Rami, very much. And thank you, everyone who've attended. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.